the thing is, I do believe there was talk about these things. I believe if we study history, the Confederates were able to shoot pterodactyls, back in the Civil War, and they spread these things out. Anybody can look it up online.
Google it
They
yourself.
spread these things out, and this is a historical fact. So, they spread this thing out, and it's got a huge winglet. It was a pterodactyl they shot. So, of course, these things have been around. Now, they went extinct, obviously, slowly, but surely. And so...
What I'm saying is Jesus wrote a dinosaur to work. That's history. It's in the Bible. How to train your dragon.
Historical facts.
And if you don't believe it, do your own research. Pull up Google. You'll find the picture, I promise.
Oh my God.
Thank you, John Gleason, Godless engineer, for gifting me this beautiful moment. Y'all remember when they tried to cancel Steven Spielberg for posing with an animatronic triceratops animal rights activist?
Back it up.
Hit it from the back.
Cloaca. Historical facts.
Eat my ass, BP. You're down here bailing on the rest of us because you don't want to process your grief and shame like a normal person by drinking and mistreating strangers.
No, Rick. It is you who must nibble my cloaca, or bird asshole.
Everyone knows what a cloaca is.
back in the Civil War, and they spread these things out. Anybody can look it up online. They spread these things out, and this is a historical fact. So, they spread this thing out, and it's got a huge winglet. It's a pterodactyl they shot. So, of course, these things have been around. Now, they went extinct, obviously, slowly, but surely. And so...
Paul Bunyan was sharing some Funyuns with his pet velociraptor.
Whoa.
Oh, you thought it was an ox? Roll back the clock. Let me knock the socks off. Historical facts.
I didn't cut out. You heard me. Are you a pervert or something? Okay.
What's up, heathens? How y'all doing? I'm the Godless Engineer, and I critically analyze apologist claims to give you the best arguments and information so that you can stand up and use your voice. Tonight, we're going to be taking a look at a video from the Bible Answer Man, who sounds like a really shitty superhero, but he's apparently a Christian radio host. And he takes calls.
I don't know if y'all know this, but when you get to heaven, your moral actions are not judged. You're only judged for believing in me. Thank you.
Thank you so much there, Math Wiz. But he's a Christian radio host, and he takes calls on occasion, and he takes questions from his very Christian audience. Tonight, he's going to be answering a question as to why we should be banning same-sex marriage just outright everywhere. And so we're going to be responding to that. He brings up some really bad arguments in support of his shitty fucking idea. And so we're going to be analyzing those to tell you why they're bad arguments. So if you want to fuck around and find out why the Bible Answer Man has shitty arguments to ban same-sex marriage, then please stay tuned. All right, heathens. Well, thank you so much, Math Wiz. Math Wiz says, where can we find that historical facts music? It says link in description, but I don't see one. I don't know if I've actually, I may have forgotten to post it on my channel here. I wonder, let's see. Bet you I could find it. Definitely want to get that to y'all. I think that I'll have to put the original link to the guy who I had actually do that up, but there's a link to the actual, I guess, music video. I don't know. Anyways, so there it is. There's a link in there. I'll definitely have to edit the description later for that. But thank you so much, Math Wiz, for that super chat. And then we also had Limited Light before the stream, way before the stream, said it's time to premiere the crap out of whatever the topic is. Well, the topic is why same-sex marriage should be totally destroyed and ripped out of society. But tonight we've got a full slate. I'm happy to say I was able to convince Burcephus to get the fuck out of bed, come over here and explain some shit to us. So he's going to be explaining something to us. We've also got full set of news to go over tonight. 3 topics as usual. And we have 5 comments that we are going to be going over. That's all on top of the actual video we are going to be reviewing. So we will definitely try to get through the preamble kind of stuff as quick as we can. But that's what we got going on tonight. So I hope you guys are ready to get started. If you want to take part in the stream here, you definitely can by either becoming a Skeptic Mafia member, and you get a free member chat each month, I believe, in order to send, or you can actually comment on the video that the Skeptic Mafia picks for the week, which that's who picked this video this week. And so you get a chance to voice your opinion. If you're part of the Skeptic Mafia now and you haven't left a comment, go to the main Godless Engineer page, go to the community tab, and you should see it right there awaiting your comment. Another way that you can be part of the stream is by sending in super chats like MathWiz and Limited Light have already done. And I will stop in the middle of whatever's going on. I will interact with your super chat. I will give you my thoughts, and you will also be adding your own thoughts to the response of the videos tonight. I say videos because the news items also have videos too. So there's that. Just in general, it would really help us out here if you could support the channel in any kind of way. We're trying to get back to a point where we are donating monthly again to charities. So if you can help us do that, that would be awesome. But in any case, let's hurry up. Let's get to the news tonight. I know that you guys are ready to learn some shitty shit. Yeah, you ready to learn? Perfectly out of tune. Today I learned some horrible new shit going on in our dystopian America. I just had to lay it on thick. You know me. Like a thack. Anyways, let's see. Let me get my news notes pulled up over here. Okay. First up, we have this asshole. I don't know if you guys recognize him. I wish I didn't. This is Oklahoma Superintendent Ryan Walters, seen here explaining to small girls why they are the property of men and should be treated as such. He proclaimed that and I mean proclaimed in a very Michael Scott kind of style, that he is going to be sending out a memo stating that all teachers in his district will be forced to teach from the Bible in grades 5 through 12. I'll let him explain the reason behind this batshit insane decision. And that's cue for the video, so if y'all will just bear with me one quick second.
We're going to make an important announcement today regarding the Bible and the Ten Commandments. My staff has been looking at Oklahoma statute. We've been looking at Oklahoma academic standards. And it's crystal clear to us that in the Oklahoma academic standards, under Title 70, multiple occasions, the Bible is a necessary historical document to teach our kids about the history of this country, to have a complete understanding of Western civilization, to have an understanding of the basis of our legal system, and is frankly, when we're talking about the Bible, one of the most foundational documents used for the Constitution and the birth of our country.
Just to note, everybody, this is all bullshit if you couldn't already tell. So, while the Bible has been an important historical document as far as influencing whole nations, even through religion and such, and I do agree that some kind of tangential information about the Bible and its significance can be provided to appropriately aged children. I don't think that it's as serious as this guy points out. It is definitely not foundational to the founding of this country. There were some founding fathers that were Christians. a lot of them were deists, and a lot of them just simply non-religious in some kind of way. So the fact that the Constitution, like the one that actually makes up our country, is antithetical to just about nearly every foundational principle of Christianity and that's contained in the Bible, it seems like what he's saying is bullshit. And one way that you can know this is very easily is by the First Amendment to the Constitution in the Bill of Rights, because that guarantees that we have a freedom of religion. Guess what God doesn't fucking like in the Bible? In fact, multiple times. Isn't that right, honey? Multiple times. And we know this because we've read through the entire Old Testament. Most of the Old Testament. We didn't read all of the prayers and shit. We've read through the story of the Old Testament. God has definitely hated that shit. He hates other cultures. He hates other people that don't worship him. And you know what he hates most of all? Allowing other cultures and other religions in your society. He thinks that's going to draw you away from worshiping that God dick. So what does he do? He punishes the Israelites whenever they allow other religions in their society. That's what the Bible teaches. That's one of the things that the Bible teaches. Another thing is that women are property. They should be forced into marriages, and that, basically consent doesn't fucking exist, which I can see why it would appeal to this white motherfucker back here. He looks like the embodiment of needing to be like schooled on what fucking consent is. In any case, everything he said is totally bullshit. And while I agree, a tangential, information being taught about the Bible as it relates to specific historical aspects, I think can be worked in a very secular way. But the way that he's presenting it, it's not it, bro.
We also find major points in history that refer to the Bible, that reference the Bible. We see multiple figures, whether we're talking about the Federalist Papers, constitutional conventional arguments, and Martin Luther King Jr., who use it as a tremendous impetus for the civil rights movement.
Right. Now, the constitutional thing, like, and all that kind of stuff, the Bible is the least mentioned thing. In fact, let me get up my other notes here that I've prepared for all of this. So there's a lot of issues with presenting, this particular memo, like to specifically only teach from the Bible, which that's what he's saying, to only teach from the Bible. Not that other books can't be used, but as far as religious books goes, he's only mandating that the Bible be taught to children as if it's the only fucking religion that matters, right? For one thing, as far as it applying like constitutionally, like it being constitutionally okay for the Bible to be taught in schools or to be referenced in schools, has to be part of a broader secular educational program. It has to be presented in an objective and an academic manner, focusing on the Bible's influence on literature, history, and culture without endorsing the religious messages. He definitely wants them to endorse the fucking religious messages, especially the 10 Commandments, as we'll hear here in a minute. You also have to ensure that students of all religious backgrounds feel included and respected, providing context for understanding a variety of religious and secular traditions. Now, that last one's kind of really important because Christians would frame it as, oh, everybody has the ability to agree with me about God, and that's how they think they can get around it. But that's horseshit. See, there are some key legal principles as far as allowing the Bible to be taught in schools. So there's the secular purpose requirement, which is also known as the Lemon test. This is according to Lemon v. Kurtzman in 1971. It's a decision by the Supreme Court, I believe. Government actions related to religion must have a secular legislative purpose and must not advance or inhibit religion and must not result in an excessive government entanglement with religion. Mandating Bible lessons can fail these criteria as it is often seen as advancing a particular religious viewpoint. So there are a lot of issues with this, and there's even more. But wait, there's more Supreme Court decisions that definitely disagree with this fuck here as far as the Bible, like like their own state constitution or the Constitution of the United States requiring the Bible to be taught. Stone v. Graham struck down a law that was requiring the posting of the Ten Commandments in public school classrooms. And then Edwards v. Aguillard, which is a 1987 ruling, ruled that a Louisiana law requiring that creationism be taught alongside evolution in public schools was unconstitutional because it advanced a particular religious viewpoint. So, and we still got a little bit of video to get to, but all of this to say he's fucking wrong, he doesn't know what he's saying, and he's only going to drive his school district or whatever the fuck he controls into debt, facing several lawsuits that are definitely coming down the pipe if he actually mandates this.
And tie many of those arguments back to the Bible. It is essential that our kids have an understanding of the Bible and its historical context.
Oh, the historical context. You mean a warring, bloodthirsty tribe that was genociding several different people groups, who was also treating women as if they're property, forcing them into marriages, forcing them into sexual slavery, treating them like property? Not to mention the fact that actual chattel slavery was condoned by God. Yeah, totally. Sure, let's teach that to fifth graders, shall we? Let's read Numbers fucking 31 to the fifth graders, being like, Israelites would have killed your ass, you fucking pagan. That brings up another thing. Which version of the Bible? Huh? Which version? I'm sure he's gonna come up with some kind of version to put out there, but exactly what version? Also, more importantly than what version, what theology are you going to teach? Like, what theology about the Old Testament are you going to teach? Are you going to be literalist about it, or are you going to be more metaphorical? Are you going to teach the Trinity, or are you going to teach like what actual first century Jews would believe in? You know, the fact that God was separate from Jesus, but they were, you know, sort of on the same level in a divine manner and all this other shit. Like, are you going to teach it like that? Like, there's so many different things that are going to have to be legislated on top of this so that teachers aren't personally pushing their own twisted interpretations of the text.
So we will be issuing a memo today that every school district will adhere to, which is that every teacher, every classroom in the state will have a Bible in the classroom and will be teaching from the Bible in the classroom to ensure that this historical understanding is there for every student in the state of Oklahoma in accordance with our academic standards and state law.
Now, like I said before, there is a way in which you can secularly include the Bible in certain lessons, in certain contexts, but only as tangential information so that they can understand these historical conflicts or these historical events, right? But he's a bit more specific in the memo that he released, not to like schools in his district or anything like that, but in to somebody else. I think it was a news agency or something like that. But as far as I understand it, as far as I've looked into it, he actually hasn't sent this memo out to like all teachers or all schools to be disseminated and adhered to. He's just threatened to do it, I guess. But in any case, let's get off of the video real quick. The rest of the videos are short, so don't worry about that. We're here for the long haul, GE. Thank you, guys. I know y'all are. Yeah, you are, babe. Casey's here for the long haul. All right. I know this is. Oh, excuse me. I know this is a little small on the screen. I'm not sure if y'all can really see it all that well, but I'm going to be reading it here, and I'll fix it in post if that's required. But so this is it's a memorandum to Oklahoma superintendents. CC'd Governor Kevin Stitt, Pro Tempore Greg Treat, Speaker Charles McCall, just a whole bunch of like government people. There's Ryan Walters, State Superintendent of Public Instruction. Okay, so he's the state superintendent. Like he's Mac Daddy superintendent. I mean, they always just said superintendent, but I guess he's directing all, like everybody in there. That makes sense. Anyways, date June 27th, immediate implementation of foundational texts in curriculum. I like how he doesn't even mention the Bible in it. But anyways, to continue. Effective immediately, all Oklahoma schools are required to incorporate the Bible. Sorry, I was just checking my levels real quick. I know I'm pretty loud. Y'all just bear with me for a second. which includes the 10 Commandments as an instructional support to the curriculum across specified grade levels, e.g. grades 5 through 12. The directive is in alignment with the educational standards approved on or about May 2019, with which all districts must comply. I imagine him up on a mountain holding 2 stone tablets and saying, hear ye, hear ye! The Bible is one of the most historically significant books and a cornerstone of Western civilization. I mean, it's important to our history, but like cornerstone, I'm not sure. Like, I feel like our Western civilization is more based on the Enlightenment period and a lot of the ideas that were brought forth in that, which include rationality, reason, and all this other stuff. Like, I feel like that's had a larger effect.
Hey,
than,
just
like,
wanted
the
to say
fucking
you
Bible.
don't have to be a good person to get into heaven. You just gotta suck my dick.
That's right. Just gotta suck Jesus' dick. Then is it Vandalia? 1998 says, as an uncle whose niece is getting married to a girlfriend this fall, this guy can go fuck himself. Oh, I totally agree. I'm going to give that a fucking heart. Thank you there, Vandalia. 1998. Along with the 10 Commandments. They will be referenced as an appropriate study of history, civilization, ethics, comparative religion, or the like, as well as their substantial influence on our nation's founders and the foundational principles of our Constitution. That right there is kind of interesting because he says comparative religion, but he's only mandating that the Bible be taught from. So, like, is it the teacher? Like, maybe you can correct me. I know that this is very kind of general sort of language here. This isn't, I guess, maybe binding legally. But I kind of feel like to say comparative religion, but then only requiring the Bible, I feel like that's saying, well, teach from the Bible that the Bible, you know, is like, and compare the Bible to all these other religions. Not necessarily saying that they're false, but definitely having the portrayal of, oh, this is the one that, you know, is the correct one. These other ones are not. I feel like
we got a new member.
I feel like that is definitely the view that they are wanting to put forth here. I don't know. That's how I feel about it. Do you disagree with me, hon? No? Okay, good. She's my barometer, by the way. Trickster says, can't wait for the Satanic Temple and FFR to sue the frick out of these guys. I believe, I thought I remembered seeing the Satanic Temple present this new, I guess, organization or learning center called HALE. I can't remember what the HALE stands for. It's something about learning. And they've set up this thing because, you know, they're going to allow religious teaching in public schools. They've set it up to where they can actually teach that kind of shit in public schools in Oklahoma. I believe it was Oklahoma. It's definitely not Louisiana, I don't think. But in Oklahoma, I think that they've set that up so that they can take advantage of it as well. And hopefully this might challenge some things, you know? Anyways, to continue. This is not merely an educational directive, but a crucial step to ensuring our students grasp the core values and historical context of our country. Additionally, the State Department of Education may supply teaching materials for the Bible as permissible to ensure uniformity in delivery. So, now, state funds, taxpayer funds, are going to be used to buy either Bibles or Bible study materials like Bible workbooks in order to teach children about the tenets of Christianity. So this isn't just have the Bible on hand to refer to while you're teaching these historical events. This is, we're going to give you fucking workbooks so that you can proselytize to young children. Do you understand how much of a bail Casey would need because of the shit that I would stir up at a school, kicking the shit out of all of these people that just were like, well, he's got to be taught about God somehow. It's like, fuck, let me have that responsibility if I choose to. Why does a public school have to be fucking doing this? They're just pricks. I agree, honey. And then finally, adherence to this mandatory is compulsory. Further instructions for monitoring and reporting on this implementation for the 2024-25 school year will be forthcoming. Immediate and strict compliance is expected. Oh, fuck you, Ryan Walters. I don't hope this for the school system in Oklahoma, but I hope you personally get legislated into fucking hell. I really do. Of course, I do feel like he is primarily doing all of this shit in order to, like, I guess, get into the frontal lobes of Republicans in Oklahoma and just in general. All these conservative Christian crazy assholes out there so that he can possibly make a bid for a higher political position. I feel like that's the purpose of this. He can be poor persecuted superintendent out of Fuckville, goddamn Oklahoma. Anyways, that's it for the first news. Y'all ready for some lighter shit? Fuckville, Oklahoma. It's wherever Ryan's centered at. Anyways, the 10 Commandments. Right-wing pastor Jack Hibbs, seen here gleefully watching a pastor friend rape a small child in front of him, claims that the 10 Commandments in public schools means that there will be no more rapes happening in public schools. You don't believe me? I hear your skepticism all the way across the internet. We're just going to watch the video. There's a video for this bullshit? Yes, there's video for this bullshit. Isn't there always a video for this kind of bullshit?
It's the Bible's version of the 10 Commandments, which, if obeyed, everybody's going to live, nobody's going to get murdered, and kids are going to stop lying about what happened to their homework, and teachers are not going to be raping kids anymore.
Okay, I gotta get this jackass on. Sorry. What? This is so stupid. Obviously, this notion is ridiculous, okay? Churches teach the 10 Commandments and all about God's wrath in churches, and yet churches and church communities have rapes that happen all the fucking time. Like, I don't know where he's getting this bullshit. Not only that, but they protect and recirculate pedophiles and other sexual offenders throughout the faith communities. This is worse than whatever happens in public schools because public schools don't protect and recirculate pedophiles as a matter of policy. This, if that happens, it's maliciously done in the public schools. And in faith communities, they forgive and forget these offenses of sexual predators, allowing them to violate others. This is a community that definitely knows the 10 Commandments, and they have one of the worst sexual assault records in modern times. I mean, just look at the Catholic Church. But not only that, what about the other shit that he said? The kids aren't going to talk about that, how their dog ate their homework anymore? They're not going to, like, lie in school? Preachers and pastors lie all the time to their congregations. I'm fairly certain, because lying is just a human thing that happens. So you're going to tell me that people don't lie in churches? They lie. They still lie. They just ask God to forgive them, and poof, it fucking happens like it just never happened at all. God will forgive anything. That's a selling point of Christianity. But he's trying to make it out to be like all of a sudden somebody knows that God likes to have his dick stroked 4 times and then lay out some piss poor ground rules that every other nation before the Jews actually figured out. That is apparently going to prevent people from raping, murdering, and killing. Do you think that the 10 Commandments that they stick on the walls, either in Oklahoma, Louisiana, wherever else the fuck they do, you think that's going to stop a fucking bullet? Huh? You think it's going to put up some magical holy shield around the school and anybody with ill intentions just won't be able to enter it? I mean, churches experience mass shootings. You think that God gives a fuck about schools? These people make me mad. This is good. This is good ramping up for the video tonight. That's it for that one. That guy's a dickhead. All right, next up, we're talking about suppressing progressive speech. Daily Wire contributor Michael Knowles, seen here about to motorboat Donald Trump's gooch, has proclaimed that conservatives should make an active effort to silence progressive speech. Here's what he actually said.
My book Speechless was about how we need to how we need to suppress the speech of liberals, not the legitimate speech of liberals, but the kind of speech that liberals regularly engage in, specifically the obscenity, the crazy pride parades, all this wackiness. Said we need to actively go in there and enforce standards and norms.
We need to actively go in there and enact standards and norms on free speech. Now, I'm not saying that free speech should be unregulated. Obviously, there are limitations to free speech, but the First Amendment guarantees free speech. Sorry, I got to bring up my notes real quick. And also, notice how he distinguished between legitimate speech and, I guess, what we could call woke speech. That's what he doesn't like. This ambiguously defined woke kind of topics. It's really interesting, though, that the law and order crowd doesn't seem to really care about the law when it comes to oppressing those that they politically oppose. Also, he made it out to be like not all progressive speech should be silenced, like I mentioned before, only some, which is the woke. I find that the ambiguously defined woke term to be really just pointless. There was actually a TikTok video I saw of somebody confronting a conservative on some kind of board, trying to get them to define woke, and like they just simply fucking couldn't. Like, not at all. They just, there's shit I don't like. That's what woke means to conservatives. Shit we don't like that makes us treat other people with dignity and equality. That's what woke is. But keep in mind, if progressives wanted to suppress the general talking points of conservatives, they would be crying in the streets. They already point to their conspiratorial, racist, and bigoted speech as being censored on private platforms. And just think about the rivers that they would cry if the government started doing it. You know, cry me a river. That's been going through my head ever since he got arrested. Anyways, that's going to be it for the news tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I did. I took up a lot of time on that first one, but I'm sure that I'll turn into a clip for here on the channel. But in any case, now we're going to get to the comments. That shit. Minimize that shit. Are y'all ready for the comments of the day? Comments of the day. Prepare to facepalm yourself in the next week. Woohoo! All right, let's get to comment number 1. Well, I thought I changed. All right. So first comment right now. This person commented on the on one of the line clips that I posted up. And it was a line clip that it was a particularly contentious call where there was some talking over each other and everything like that. This guy says, my first time on this site, like on YouTube or on my channel. I mean, my channel's not a site in the same way that I'm thinking of a site. It's just a fucking channel. Anyways, well, my opinion, bad channel. Thumbs down. Definitely a 0% on Rotten fucking Tomatoes. You guys talk all over each other. Just cursing. I got nothing from this one. I don't even know what the girl's view is. Forget about these two opposites cursing at each other. This site needs work. Stop zooming and get into a studio. It's annoying, and that's why you talk all over each other out in the same area. Get to a studio and both have a quiet conversation with these types of moronic idiots. This whole 12 minutes was unbearable. So this was on the one where it had JP, and she basically dismissed my entire presence because I'm a mythicist. And apparently I'm supposed to have a civil conversation with someone that is just going to sit there and be like, I didn't hear a fucking word you said because you're a mythicist and I don't give a fuck about you. I'm supposed to try to, in good faith, engage with a person like that? Jeff, fuck off. Apparently my yelling puts Casey to sleep. Next up is Bill Johnson. Bill here says, the caller was right that you spend too much time monologuing and not talking with the caller. Well, so this is another JP video that I was on with Guts Gibbon. Basically, the caller was belligerent. She didn't want to hear anything that I said, was totally dismissing me, talking over me as I was trying to answer the question as it was presented. So, muted the caller, explained my position, which was a monologue, not a long one, a short one. And when we came back, JP, she just totally dismissed everything I had to say and actually didn't even listen to me. So, no. I explained my position, and then I waited for the caller to interact with it. They decided not to interact with it. Bill Johnson, you can fuck off too. Everybody can fuck off. I don't care what you have to say. You can just really fuck off. Fuck off today. Trey Braswell says, couldn't fundamentalist Christians say the same thing, though? If you say institutions are corrupt, doesn't that mean that both mythicists and fundamentalists have the same credence? Well, interestingly enough, fundamentalists, they're not usually tossed out of academic circles concerning their particular, area. I mean, I say typically, that's as long as they toe the party line and, they don't say anything too offensive to the religious majority. So, and for fundamentalists, they're going to strictly, they're adhering way more to the Christian line than most other denominations out there. So fundamentalists don't have anything to worry about. And this is on a video concerning the problem with, biblical academics. And the problem with, especially New Testament academics, is the fact that you have people that, try to challenge the status quo, and they're regularly punished for it. And so that's created this sort of it's created this sort of community that is afraid to question the status quo, afraid to challenge long-standing ideas, because every time you do, you end up getting blackballed. And so this is very different than, say, like creationists. Creationists are more than able to submit any scientific paper, something they claim is scientific, to any journal. It's not the journal's fault that the paper doesn't stand up to the scientific rigor that they require. It's creationists' fault that their shit is not science. Now, contrary to popular belief, mythicism does stand on a pretty solid academic footing, using academic scholars in the field of religion and history. So this is far different than the creationism or the fundamentalist crowd. Here's another one about mythicism. Ha 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 ha. These nuts have to ignore so much extrinsic evidence, history, written journals, letters by Roman officials, historians of the day, Jewish Sanhedrin, etc., only by using statistics. how to lie using math? Can they say probably or soft science? Only by ignoring much written and known material can they play a cod. Acade? Is it play acade? Is that a word? Acade? Hold on, I gotta check this out. Acade. Nope, not academy. Acade and not academy sports. Nope. Search instead for acade. Acade is not a word. I don't know what word that's supposed to be. Anyways, so yeah, as you can tell, totally ridiculous. Oh, academic. They can play academic.
We got a new member.
Apparently the member chats are coming through as new memberships. So anyways, Elizabeth says academic. I see that now. I stopped at acade and I was being too literal with it. Academic. No, there are actual academic positions that refute all of these supposed evidence that you're providing here. There are no Roman official records. Historians of the day routinely did not record anything about Jesus or the Christian religion other than Christians existed. The Jewish Sanhedrin, there's nothing in there about a Jesus in the 1st century. There's a Jesus that existed in the latter half of the 1st century BCE, but there's nothing about a Jesus that was an itinerant rabbi that roamed around Palestine at that time frame. Extrinsic evidence? External, maybe? Is that supposed to be external? Sorry, my sugar's getting fucking high. Is that supposed to be external evidence? There's no external evidence for Jesus whatsoever. So I don't even know what that's supposed to be referencing because he's being so vague in this particular post. Sorry, I just gotta shoot up some insulin real quick. Gotta take some drugs. Written journals. I don't know what journals he's talking about. So none of this is actually proof that Jesus existed, let alone even a minimal historical Jesus was walking around. And I mean, even if I accepted that Jesus was a real historical person, I would reject these things as evidence because these are not, this is not evidence that Jesus actually existed. All right, last comment for the night. Marty Smith on Mythicism yet again says the Bible has historical eyewitness accounts and should be used to prove Christ, but there's plenty of non-Christian attestation that is contemporary. I put this in here because I know a lot of people out there know that no, there's no eyewitnesses in the Bible. But I feel like it bears repeating, like every single time that I can, that no, there are no historical eyewitness accounts contained in the Bible. The closest that you get is Paul. Paul didn't actually see Jesus like walking around on earth. Paul only refers to Jesus through visions and through scripture. And so that's the only way that he knows any kind of information about Jesus. Now, some people might push back and say, oh, but he met these disciples. Technically, they're apostles, not disciples. Disciples would have been those that actually learned at the feet of Jesus, while apostles are those that received revelation of Jesus after he supposedly died and resurrected. At least that's the definition that Paul understands the definition of apostle as. Paul never uses the word disciples, so as far as we could tell, the disciples were created with the Gospels. And the Gospels are not eyewitness accounts. They are anonymous works that do not cite any kind of source information about where they got their information from. So there's no way to actually vet where this information was from. And to say that, oh, that means it's eyewitness accounts is just ad hoc assuming that they're eyewitness accounts. And it is not an argument for the historicity of the Bible, let alone Jesus. And of course, non-Christian attestation. It's probably talking about Josephus, Tacitus, Pliny the Younger, other people as well. Lucian of Samosata, I think, is probably another one that they would probably point out. But those also do not prove that Jesus existed. They are just regurgitating what Christians believed. Josephus, though, is a forgery. Both references in Josephus. So anyways, that's going to be it for the comments tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I did. And I guess we are going to be going to the shitty-ass science section. Y'all ready for some shitty-ass fucking science? I know I am. Now I got to go get Josephus. I'm going to take a swig of my beer here, which, By the way, in case you guys don't know what I'm drinking tonight, I am drinking Voodoo Ranger Juicy Haze IPA. Why my sugar's going up. All right, let's go get Brosifus, shall we? Brosifus! Heard you got a new shirt.
Shitty ass science. Bring in the answers of science shit really wrong.
You got a beer up here? Proper. Now, Brosifus, don't go drink my beer. All right, I'll drink my own beer. No, I don't think it does. Make sure he doesn't drink my beer. Tell on me, okay? Hey, y'all like my new shirt? I got it off the Clickety Clap Tickety Talk app. Jesus risen. Jesus has risen. It's even got tour dates on. Yeah, tour. John 3:16. I don't know. Anyways, Jesus has risen, y'all. I'm just saying, he has risen. He is. All right, so what are we explaining tonight? Devout Christians have found by looking through a microscope a gene in your DNA that makes you an atheist. Fuck you, phone. I have already acknowledged you. I mean, GE has already acknowledged you. See, it couldn't recognize, Face ID couldn't recognize me. That's why I'm not GE. Just saying. All right. Okay, DNA that makes you an atheist. It's the Satan gene. What do you say to that, atheist? Satan made you this way, so God must be real. Okay, let me see if I can explain this, because he's not too far off. There is a gene inside of you that's shaped like a billy goat, okay? And that billy goat is the sign of Satan, and it's right there midst, I don't know, chromosome 666 or something. And anyways, that chromosome inside the 666 thing, that's the gene that makes you an atheist and hate God and not believe in God because you want to sin all the time. At least that's what I hear from Frank Turek, who is the smartest man alive. I'm just saying. He's a great... Frank Turek, go to the U to the zoo. He's got great rhetorical skills. Anyway, so microscope gene in your DNA, through a microscope, a gene in your DNA. See, they want to tell you it's Mr. DNA or DNA, whatever, you know, Jurassic Park shit. Mr. DNA, there's no Mr. DNA. It's D&A, and there's Satan in your veins, okay? Now, I know a lot of you out there might be like, oh yeah, rock it out, Satan, yeah. But it's not good. Satan, he makes you learn shit. And we all know that's not what God is about. God is not about you learning anything other than to suck his dick. That's the only thing you need to know about God and the world is you suck his dick every time. If you're eating fucking cereal, you gotta suck that Jesus dick first before you start eating it, okay? You gotta give props to the Lord and make sure that he is taken care of. You got to let that Holy Spirit come up inside you and explode inside your heart all the way. Okay? So all you atheists out there with Satan in your genes, I'm going to take this to heart from now on. Anyways, I hope you heathens go to hell and everything like that. I'm going to take another swig of GE's thing before he gets here. That's some good Voodoo Ranger. Anyways, heathens, I will see you heathens later. Hope y'all go to hell and burn there. Bye, y'all. Did you tell my audience to go to hell and see? Well, yeah, I did. Because that's true. I always wanting to learn shit and stuff, eating fruit. KC knows what I'm talking about. You love a fruit salad, don't you? See? That's That's why we're all going to hell. I say night and day. 3 times daily. Do less than Muslim. Okay. Magic. God damn, bro, Cephas. Why you gotta be so rude? Anyways, this is all bullshit. I don't know what he's been binging in his fucking room that's made him say that Frank Turek is a good role fucking model, but that's the Cephas now. Anyways, it's not D and A, it's DNA, right? Deoxyribonucleic acid. It's a chemical that's in organisms that they are the building blocks of life and everything like that. No, there's no Satan in DNA. There's no Satan gene or anything like that. You know, fucking Josephus can fuck off with that shit in his room. But in any case, this is a ridiculous post. I don't know who made it. It was just on our Facebook Science over there on Reddit. Definitely go and check out that subreddit if you haven't already, if you partake in Reddit and shit. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say about this bullshit. Anyways, y'all ready for the video? I know I'm ready for the video, and we're pretty well on time for the video. You're ready? I'm ready. I apparently forgot to get this shit ready. Boom. Okay, let's see. Okay, I was just checking any of the super chats that we might have gotten. If you feel so inclined, please do send a super chat so that you can interact with me. Add 2 cents if I just so happen to get something wrong tonight. I always love hearing from y'all during the stream, interacting with y'all during the stream. So if you feel compelled to say something or have me read something, interact with something, please send a super chat tonight. So let's see. I've got to get my notes up real quick. Okay, so before we start the video tonight, which this isn't the guy. Hold on. This is it. So before I start the video tonight, I do want to point you to the studies that I've linked down below, studies that show that same-sex marriage is not affecting heteronormative marriages or heterosexual marriages, however you want to characterize them. It's not affecting marriage whatsoever. The analogy that is derived in this video is very homophobic, which the person that did this video is very homophobic, but I'm going to be explaining to you why the analogy fails, and also some key information that you may need to know if you encounter any of these talking points, like in your daily lives, either on social media or face-to-face with your drunk uncle. I pointed to myself, if y'all couldn't see. I'm the drunk uncle, apparently. So anyways, all right, let me get back to the start of my notes here. We got a whole bunch of bullshit to cover.
I want to go back to the phone lines. Talk to Ron in Kansas City, Missouri. Hi, Ron.
Hi, Hank. How you doing today?
I'm good, thank you.
That's good. I listen to your show all the time, and I value your opinion, and I learn a lot from you. So I really appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
On the issue of same-sex marriage, I'm a Christian. I've been a Christian for about, actually I'm coming up on 8 years. Before that, I was raised Jewish. But
wow.
I'm against same-sex marriage, but for the masses of the people, I personally feel that if they want to do it, they can do it. And
stop right there. Perfectly fine. You're against same-sex marriage. I'm not exactly sure what that means. I feel like maybe the caller means I'm not gay, and so therefore I'm not going to get gay married. If that's what the caller means, perfectly fucking fine, and you can just stop talking right here. Just stop talking. That would be the best thing. I'm not gay, but I don't care if other people are gay. This is the reasonable, rational, and simply just perfectly fine thing to think. Like, I never cared about people being gay when I was growing up. I regularly had people that would tell me, he's gay, right? And I wouldn't give a fuck because that's not my business. I don't care. Are they trying to fuck me? No, they're not trying to fuck me. They're just my friends. Then I don't fucking care. That should be the normal thing. That should be normalized.
And the reason, I guess, why I'm thinking about it is when I look at the Bible and I read it, you shouldn't have sex before marriage. You shouldn't divorce. You shouldn't, kill or have an abortion.
Okay, so far all three of those things are bad. Premarital sex. I don't understand what's so magical about like marriage as far as sex goes. Now, should you definitely use protection if you're having sex in general? Sure. Are you in a marriage or in a relationship in general where you're looking to have a child? Then maybe unprotected sex is the way to go. But teaching proper sex education, I feel in that respect, is important. But the whole magical aspect to being married and then being able to have sex, I've never understood it. Even as a Catholic, like I was a kid as a Catholic, so this really wasn't a talking point when I was a kid. But after, like, I became an adult, was married for a while, I still didn't understand when I had Catholic friends that were like, well, we're going to wait till marriage before we have sex. And then after we get married, we're only going to have sex when we want to procreate. I'm sorry. Do you not know how good sex is? Because you talk like somebody that's just never experienced good sex. I'm just saying, okay? Because I feel like the whole magical aspect to this is totally bullshit. And then there's the no divorce thing. That perpetuates some toxicity because I feel like if you're woefully adhere to this idea that you can never get divorced, that's only going to promote abusive relationships. And of course, Christians aren't saying, no, you shouldn't be in an abusive relationship, but they also won't tell you, Christians like this, will also tell you you shouldn't get out of your marriage, you should fix it. Find counseling, specifically Christian counselors, which are the worst kind of counselors in my opinion. Like Christian, I don't mean like counselors that are Christian, I mean Christian counselors. There is a difference. There is nuance here. Christian counselors use the religion in order to solve your relationship problems. Can you imagine that? Taking a book that's based on spousal abuse and trying to counsel married couples about it? That's just fucking bonkers to me. But in any case, this whole idea that you shouldn't get divorced, totally bullshit, and only perpetuates toxic relationships that are abusive for both parties. Or in, cases, one party is being abused while the other party is perfectly fine, apparently. But I'm just saying that people are abused in that situation. And then the no abortion thing, everybody knows that that's woefully misunderstanding the science and the medical field behind abortions. Abortion is healthcare for people, with uteruses that can get pregnant. So, I mean, I feel like abortions, if you're against abortions, then you are against the right of women to control their reproductive organs. That you are against a woman's right to bodily autonomy. And you know what I know? I don't want some politicians in my balls. I don't. I don't want anybody controlling whether or not I get a vasectomy. I don't want people controlling whether or not I procreate. I don't want that. And I would assume that women don't want politicians in their uteruses. Or people. I assume that people don't want politicians in their uteruses, controlling them in that kind of way. I feel like this is basic fucking shit.
But a lot of that in the United States is legal. And I also look at it that even though the United States was found on Christian principles and things of that nature, and yes, we've all gotten sidetracked.
Name them. Anytime, I'm talking to y'all now, anytime you hear anybody say that the United States is based on Christian principles, the first question that needs to come out of your mouth is, name them. Name the Christian principles that the United States is based on, or whatever government you're in. Which ones? Which ones are they? Don't kill. God orders, his people to kill others all the time. Even little, small babies, children, anything like that. Like, that's mandated throughout it. Don't rape somebody. Oh, where is that in the fucking 10 Commandments? Or anywhere in the fucking Bible that it says don't rape somebody, right? Name the verse. Chapter, verse, right? Give it to me. Book, chapter, verse. Sorry. Book, chapter, verse. Give it to me. You can't fucking find it. All right? What you can find in the Old Testament is a Bible verse that says, oh, if you rape a young girl, then you have to buy her. You have to buy her. Is that really the kind of principles that you think the United States is based on? I mean, I will give you one thing. One of the principles of the Bible that the country is based on, slavery, chattel slavery to be specific. Even the laws in the South that were modeled off of the biblical laws. Like there's a comparison that you can do to antebellum South slavery laws and the Bible, and they're pretty fucking similar. So like slavery was around during the founding of this nation. Slavery continued, in it, and it wasn't discontinued until much later. So if you want to hang on these principles that our country is founded on, hang on the actual principles.
Track as the nation, I also talk to people to say why homosexuality or being gay is not what God wants, and why divorce is not what God wants, and everything else. But I still feel that people have to make their decision, and so I'm torn on that. I may be against it personally, but if someone wants to do it, who am I to say no?
Well, but remember, when you say personally as opposed to publicly, marriage is a public institution with public consequences.
What public consequences are there to marriage? Like, my marriage to KC doesn't affect any fucking body else, like, outside of us. I mean, like, it matters to us because, we're with each other. We have a respect for one another. We own a house together. We own other property together. We own several things together. Like, if she goes into the hospital, I should have legal rights to be there with her and to be given information about her health. Vice versa, too. So, I mean, like, that's the whole legal aspect or public aspect to our marriage, in that we're legally tied to one another. Other than that, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter what we do in our homes, with each other and other consenting adults. Like, it just doesn't fucking matter to you. Why do these people care so much about what other people do, other consenting adults do in the privacy of their own homes or wherever in the fuck? Like, why do they care so much? I just don't fucking understand it.
If you have someone counterfeiting dollar bills in Texas, it affects the value of money in New York or in North Carolina or wherever.
Okay, so the analogy given here is mainly to say that same-sex marriage is a counterfeit of real marriage, as if real marriage is only defined by a marriage between a man and a woman. Unless you ask the Bible, then it's several different configurations. But mainly it's one man and then any X number of women that he chooses. It can be slave girls that he rapes and impregnates and everything like that, like Jacob or Israel. He was later renamed Israel after God naked wrestled him in the desert and grabbed his dick. So, I mean, there's that configuration. There's, one man and any number of wives that he can have. Like, there's several different configurations in the Bible. So I'm not exactly sure where they get this whole one man, one woman thing. It kind of seems like it's one man and then however many fucking people you want to bring into the bed, as long as it's not gay shit, because then we gotta kill you. Also, notice that he's not going to be arguing tonight to wantonly kill gay people, which is mandated by the Bible. It was not something that the caller brought up, that we should kill gay people, but that is what the Bible teaches. If you actually are going to stick to what the Bible teaches, maybe you actually need to know what the fuck the Bible says.
So enshrining, by way of comparison, a false definition of marriage in law inevitably harms all marriage and therefore all society. And
he doesn't actually substantiate any of this. He just sort of proclaims that it harms them. But going back to the original thing, I know that I kind of blew past that. But to say that same-sex marriage is just a counterfeit of real marriage is just a very bad false analogy, because marriage is just marriage. It's a legal agreement between two consenting adults. It shouldn't matter whether or not the two people's genitals can fit like puzzle pieces. Like that doesn't matter at all as far as marriage goes. I mean, it matters to these people because they've been taught that it matters, but it doesn't actually matter. And comparing same-sex marriage to counterfeit bills doesn't work, because counterfeit bills do damage the economy. They drive down the value of whatever currency you're counterfeiting. But with marriage only promotes health and good relationships. It promotes a positive outlook in a society. It promotes happiness in a society. All of this information is down below in the links. It also promotes good mental health. Because of the stigma surrounding homosexuality, providing same-sex marriage in a society helps normalize same-sex marriage, and therefore doesn't cause so much mental anguish for those that are part of the LGBTQ community. So, I mean, everything that he's saying here in this analogy, that it's counterfeit in some kind of way, is just fucking wrong. And it's only looking at marriage through this conservative Christian lens.
I can speak about this with some passion, having been born in Holland and being real conversant with what's going on there. Laws have permitted same-sex marriage in Holland since 2001. And rather than a marriage paradise with straight and gay couples typically living in long-term monogamous bliss, fewer and fewer Dutch bother to get married at all. And children are no longer connected to marriage.
Okay, so I got my notes up right here. I should have been reading from them because it has a lot more information that I've compiled in them. But so as far as Holland specifically, or the Netherlands, what we have here is one comprehensive study. I've got linked down in the description there. One comprehensive study conducted by Mirza Trandafer, sorry, I'm mispronouncing that, at the University of Maryland explored the effects of same-sex marriage laws on different sex marriages rates in the Netherlands. This research utilized a robust data set covering the period of 1995 to 2005. Now that covers two specific time periods, or not time periods, that covers two specific events. One, the legalization of same-sex unions, and then the legalization of same-sex marriage. And there's enough on either side to account for any long-term effects. The findings indicated that while there was a short-term increase in different sex marriage rates following the introduction of registered partnerships in 1998, the rates returned to their long-term trends after the legalization of same-sex marriage in 2001. This suggests that the legalization of same-sex marriage did not have a long-lasting negative impact on different sex marriage rates. Additionally, on the effect of same-sex marriage laws on different sex, so this is coming from the same study. The study also published in demography, used synthetic control methods to compare the marriage rates in Netherlands to those of other OECD countries. This analysis confirmed that different sex marriage rates in the Netherlands did not decline significantly due to the legalization of same-sex marriage. The study further supported the idea that same-sex marriage laws had a neutral effect on the institution of marriage among heterosexual couples. So it literally had no effect that Jim and Bob across the way in the apartment complex affected Bill and Mary on the other side of the hall, because it doesn't fucking matter to people. These findings align with broader research indicating that the legalization of same-sex marriage tends to have neutral or positive effects on societal and economic stability without undermining the institution of marriage. legal recognition of same-sex marriage enhances social inclusion and reduces stigma, contributing to overall societal well-being without detracting from the value and prevalence of different sex marriages. So basically, there's no evidence for any of the bullshit that he's saying, especially coming out of the Netherlands. More to the point, though, of like impact on marriage rates just in general, research indicates that the legalization of same-sex marriage does not negatively affect the rates of different sex marriages from, this one paper called The Antisocial Effects of Legalizing Same-Sex Marriage. It's a paper that analyzes, those claims and finds them not being supported. There's also in this one journal article called Perceived Psychological Impacts of Legalization or of Legalized Same-Sex Marriage. This was a comprehensive review published on PLOS 1, highlighted that the legal recognition of same-sex marriage leads to positive health outcomes for sexual minorities, including reduced psychological distress and improved self-reported health. This improvement in health outcomes contributes positively to social well-being. So societies that legalize same-sex marriage are better off than societies that make it illegal. Also, there's a pretty big effect this is contained in the antisocial effects of legalizing same-sex marriage analysis. Another study, this study found that LGBTQ inclusion, including the legalization of same-sex marriage, is associated with positive economic developments. The integration of sexual minorities into societal structures like marriage reduces stigma and promotes equality, which benefits social cohesion and economic growth. There's also a demonstration that concerns the negative externalities, such as an increase in unwed motherhood or a decline in marriage equality, are not supported by the evidence. Studies comparing regions before and after legalization of same-sex marriage show no detrimental effects on family structures or societal norms. There's also a lot of different effects that can affect marriage in general, not just same-sex marriage or different sex marriage. So, I'm just saying that there's a lot of factors that go into declining marriage rates or increasing marriage rates. And then, of course, there's international comparisons in the PLOS article. Globally, countries that have legalized same-sex marriage have not experienced negative social impacts. This report on PLOS noted that in countries like Canada and several European nations, the inclusion of same-sex couples in the institution of marriage have been linked to increased social acceptance and stability without adverse effects on traditional marriages. I'm bringing the evidence. I'm bringing the information here. This guy is just saying, oh, whatever bigoted thing aligns with my own narrative. Check the information in the description. I'm telling you that same-sex marriage does not negatively affect you and your marriage.
People just live together, and many have a hard time figuring out why marriage is relevant in the first place. So you see the ramifications not only in terms of reason, but you see the ramifications in terms of reality. If you have your boots on the ground, let's say living in Holland, you're among the Dutch, you start to recognize that immediately. And I've been over there recently.
Wait, so hold on a second. Why in the fuck does it matter whether or not people are getting married? As far as marriage goes, right? The biggest thing is that you're legally connected to another person. You're legally connected to another person. You get benefits, benefits are afforded to each of you. There's a lot of different legal ramifications to it. So there are some positive things that the government affords you for being married. But as far as other aspects of being married, I'm not exactly sure why that's important. If you could get just a same-sex, or not same-sex, if you could just get a union, whether it's same-sex or not, if you could just get a union and it provides the exact same thing as a traditional marriage, then why is marriage considered special in that regard? Like, I get that maybe this might be playing into his whole, you know, blah, 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 it's counterfeiting marriage or something like that. But I'm saying that, like, what good is marriage in the first place? Like, the legal institution of marriage. Like, is it magical in some kind of way that changes your relationship? Like, people change in a relationship after they get married, I guess. But I'm just saying that, like, being married is not all that fucking special. Like, as
Today
far as,
I learned that atheists sacrifice babies on Halloween.
I just mean, like, outside of the legalities of being married or being in a union, like a legal union like that. We got Eric Mishma who says you can't accept gay marriage into your heart unless you believe, and then a whole bunch of, like, rainbows that would totally scare the fuck out of that creationist guy. Who is it? Ken Ham. He'd be totally scared by using that and the word gay in the same sentence. But anyways, he makes it out to be like the decline of marriage is, like, bad. But I'm not exactly sure what benefit marriage specifically has. The legal aspect of it, the union aspect of it, is already covered by something that's not marriage. So I don't understand why marriage holds such a special place in his heart.
Recently talking to even relatives, and what's your problem? They don't get it. And that's why I'm saying, if you don't have an argument, then you're going to be considered a bigot. If you have a well-reasoned argument, then you can point out that enshrining a false view of marriage is harmful to society at large. And again, this is an argument that we should be able to make, not as a dogmatic argument, but a defensible proposition.
Well, I agree with you completely. You know, so that's why I call, because it helps me learn. But you were also saying because marriage is public and everything else, but I guess having an abortion isn't public unless, you know, you find out about it, but it's not necessarily.
Yeah, but we can't argue from the aberrations, right? I mean, the point is, there are some really bad marriages. So because there are some really bad marriages between men and women, we can't say that, well, because of that, we shouldn't have marriage at all.
No. You shouldn't say that. That we shouldn't have marriage at all. That would be very overgeneralizing and fucking dumb. But it's also equally dumb to say that marriages are forever and that they cannot be dissolved. That is also fucking dumb. It's the thing that he said at the beginning of the video. Well, the caller said it, but he didn't disagree with it, the host here. So, I mean, obviously they both agree that divorce is bad, so once you get married, you're married for life and you can't dissolve it. That is also fucking dumb. Just putting that out there. And I feel like I've covered this pretty well just a few minutes ago. Same-sex marriage does not degrade other people's marriages or marriage in general or the society that same-sex marriage is allowed in. All that's just bullshit.
And therefore, I don't think that we want to take the fact that there are divorces and abortions and now say, because that is a reality, well, we shouldn't worry too much about this reality.
Okay. It just seems like that a lot of Christians are starting to draw the line more at gay marriage than what the root of it is, which goes back even further. And
well, the root does go back further. I agree with that. I mean, look, here's the issue. Pagans are always going to exercise their job description. What else would they do? What else did we do when we were pagans? We exercised the dictates of our own will. That was our job description, so to speak. But here's the real problem. The problem is not that pagans are not exercising their job description. They are, and as a result, they've won this culture war.
They won this culture war. They won this culture war? Pagans have won this. Pagans are the ones that are pushing for gay marriage? Like same-sex marriage? There are Christians that are pushing for it too. Not shitbag Christians, not asshole Christians, obviously, which these two people seem to be, that are on this call. not asshole or shitbag Christians, but, you know, progressive Christians out there are perfectly fine. Gay people, gay marriage, all of that. So, I mean, I don't know. These two are just pissing me off. But it's not the pagans that are doing it. Of course, they see anybody that's not Christian as being pagan. So, like, I'm pagan. The actual pagans in the crowd, y'all are pagan. We're all fucking pagan. He's like the fucking Oprah of labeling people pagans. You're a pagan. You're a pagan. You're a pagan. You're all pagans and you're going to hell. While fucking each other in the ass or doing the scissor thing. Just saying.
For all practical purposes, at least. The problem is that Christians are not exercising their job description to be salt and light.
What do you think this means? Just in your mind right now, think, what could he mean by Christians aren't doing their job of being salt and light? What could that fucking mean? Salt? Oh, that bitch turned to a pillar of salt. What did she do? She looked back as God was destroying a whole city. I mean, honestly, we all know that if you're walking away from something exploding, you're not supposed to look back, right? And that comes from, I guess, the Bible. They would argue that. Anyways, so that's that. Is that the salt? Light. Let's see. Light of God. They always portray God as light. So could this possibly mean damning those that disobey God?
I don't know if y'all know this, but when you get to heaven, your moral actions are not judged. You're only judged for believing in me. Thank you.
Elizabeth Richardson said, as a lesbian, I'm asking you to never make that motion again. Hey, you know what? Every time I do this motion, I think of Shannon Q, because I've seen her on a Twitter be like that to somebody. Yeah, so that's what I think of. But if you're asking me not to do it, then, you know, this is the symbol I'm not supposed to do anymore, and I'm just going to wear it out right now. Just saying. So, salt and light. So you're supposed to preach the damnation of those that turn their back on God, or rather face God. Is it turn back on? Because God wanted the bitch to turn her back and not turn and look back. Anyways, you either disobey God and go to hell, or you obey God and go to heaven. That's what I'm guessing. So basically, he's calling for people to go out there and be dicks the entire time. Yell at people, tell them how they're going to hell. Make sure you tell your gay friend how you're going to hell all the fucking time, and become the most insufferable motherfucker on the planet. That's what being salt and light Christians mean. That's my guess.
That were true if we were.
Jane Pusecker said,
we got a new member.
Said people like this guy worry about low birth rates. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that he would worry about. He would probably say that, oh, all the gays are getting married, so people are getting gay married all the time, and therefore there's low birth rates. Not thinking that gay people can still either get pregnant or at least have a kid in some kind of way through surrogacy or some other kind of action. So yeah, that doesn't make fucking sense, now does it? Sorry, my anger is directed at the host here. I forget his name. Bible Answer Man. I've only got shitty answers. Bible Answer Man.
Absolutely committed to knowing truth and communicating truth in love, we would be able to reach people, and as people's hearts are changed, then culture is changed. But
so basically, abuse people into becoming your heteronormative shitbag of a person, and that's going to shift culture. So basically, he's saying if we abuse them enough, they will come around and they will not want to be gay anymore, and then that's going to make society better for me personally, because then I don't have to think about the gay people doing the icky gay stuff, like docking, whatever this is. Is that better, Elizabeth? I'm not doing the scissor thing. I'm doing the docked thing. So you're docking. Y'all know what docking is?
In reality, many Christians, I would argue a vast majority of Christians, are simply biblically illiterate. They can't really defend the Bible as being divine as opposed to merely human in origin, and we are, as a result, a state of chaos, even with.
That was a lot of shit in a very short amount of time. Hold on.
What else did we do when we were pagans? We exercised the dictates of our own will. That was our job description, so to speak. But here,
what is it? Is it doing the dictates of your own will to conquer Native American peoples, give them diseases, and more than that, though? Because I mean, you know, I don't expect them to understand diseases at that particular time, but they definitely enslaved Native Americans here in the quote unquote New World. They enslaved them, they killed them, and all that kind of shit. Is that adhering to God, or is that adhering to your own will? Is it adhering to your own will when it's uncomfortable for you? Is that what it is? Like if there's some kind of event that happens and it's uncomfortable for you personally, then that's their personal will. But if you're personally fine with it, then apparently it's God's will. Kind of sounds like subjective bullshit to me.
here's the real problem. The problem is not that pagans are not exercising their job description. They are, and as a result, they've won this culture war, for all practical purposes at least. The problem is that Christians are not exercising their job description to be salt and light. If that were true, if we were absolutely committed to knowing truth and communicating truth in love, we would be able to reach people, and as people's hearts are changed, then culture is changed. But in reality, many Christians, I would argue a vast majority of Christians, are simply biblically illiterate. They can't really defend the Bible as being divine as opposed to merely human in origin.
This is a lot of words in such a short amount of time. I went way too far back, but most Christians are biblically illiterate. That seems like an overgeneralization. I think that most people that I encounter that claim that I don't know the Bible, they actually don't understand the Bible. But I mean, that's more demonstrative. Like, I can demonstrate how they don't know the Bible because they just simply won't know the worst of verses that their pastor doesn't tell them about. So do they really know the Bible? No. But there are varying levels of understanding. And it's really weird because you've got one end of the spectrum of Christian believers who only hear and understand what their pastor tells them and wants them to understand. Then there's the exact opposite end of the spectrum where they perfectly understand what the Bible says and they fucking justify it. I'm talking about the William Lane Craigs out there, the Ben Shitlers, the Ken Hams, all of them on this far end who understand the Bible and decide to either justify it or lie about it in some kind of way. So, I mean, that's the spectrum, and there's a whole, like, gradient in between of people that understand and only understand portions of the Bible. So, saying, oh, most Christians just don't understand the Bible and don't know how to defend the Bible, I think that you're just not actually thinking about this large gradient of people that are in the Christian community.
And we are, as a result, a state of chaos, even within the church. And I think real reformation, and that's why I agree with your point. I mean, the real issue is not the culture. The real issue is the church. For revival to take place in the culture, there has to be reformation in the church.
Okay, so I feel like at the very end there, basically what his message is that the church has to, as a whole, which would include Catholics, Protestants, and all them, they all have to agree on one particular position concerning gay marriage. And until that happens, then we can't shift culture. I don't see that ever happening again. In fact, I see it crumbling. Like this whole adherence to homophobic principles, that's going the way of the dinosaurs. It's going to be extinct soon because most people appreciate equality in society. Most people want an equal opportunity society. And I feel like just wantonly hanging on to these antiquated ideas like homophobia, you're just going to be left in the dust by the march of progress forward into a better future. Like, you're just simply gonna be left behind. Hold on, they jerk off to that kind of thing, so maybe I shouldn't mention that.
So basically, to sum it all up, it really starts with one Christian at a time, learning the infallible Word of God and learning how to communicate that to fellow man, so eventually we could all be on the same page and change the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
So basically, go forth, my brethren, and spread the homophobia. Beat it into their skulls until they cannot be homo no more. Go forth and shame them into hiding their homosexuality and their homo nature. Shame them into loving the opposite sex. Because that is the only way we can change the culture, is by abusing your fellow man. This is the word of the Lord. Amen. I mean, how can you sit there and say shit like that and expect reasonable, rational people to be like, yeah, I'm going to go out and abuse people. I'm going to go out and tell people you either go to hell or you go to heaven, so stop sucking dick. Or, you know, being gay in general. Not specifically scissoring. I'm not a lesbian. I'm also not gay, but I feel like I know more about gay man stuff than gay woman stuff. Anyways, whatever the gay women's do, don't do that. I feel like I participate in a lot of the gay women's stuff, but, you know, not gay. Anyways, go forth and abuse people is apparently the message.
Absolutely. You just said it better than I did. And I appreciate your call very much. I mean, it was a very relevant question and a very concise summation at the end. Thanks for listening.
Doesn't this guy, look at this guy right here. Doesn't he look like the literal embodiment of like white privilege? Like white Christian privilege. If there was ever the physical embodiment of being white and privileged, this is fucking it. This is fucking it right here. Anyways, that's it. That's it for the video. Go forth, abuse your fellow man. I mean, don't abuse your fellow man. Actually be a reasonable person. Love your fellow man. I feel like in that sense, I'm preaching more of the message of Christ than that guy is. So I don't know. At least that's what some Christians would tell me. Go forth, spread love. Love your neighbor. Don't hate thy enemy. Turn thy cheek and get spanked. And again, spank harder, daddy. Luckily she's asleep or she would have been appalled. Anyways, that's going to be it for our show tonight. If you will, please go down below. Let me know what you thought about Bible Answer Man. I'm shitty. That's Bible Answer Man. Anyways, go down below. Let me know what you thought about Bible Answer Man, his answers with his caller. What do you think about the all the information that I provided around same-sex marriage and societies, the benefits that it provides, and all that kind of stuff? Let me know down below. And hey, while you're down there, why don't you smash that like button and subscribe if you like this kind of content, this kind of live stream, rather. And don't forget to stand up and use your voice. Bye, heathens. But don't go, because we do have the Skeptic Mafia podcast, or not podcast, sorry, the Skeptic Mafia comments. We should be recording another podcast this weekend, which is going to reduce it to just one podcast in June, but we will hopefully get out 2 in July. Here's hoping. I got my fingers crossed, and I'm knocking on the fake wood. All right. Looks like we just got a couple of comments tonight. Doo-doo. All right, Tomato Goes Zoom says he starts off with the faulty premise that America was founded on Christian beliefs, which I can't believe in 2024 we have to keep telling them that it's not. The Constitution is about as secular a document as you can get. Yet these bigoted assholes keep insisting that we're a Christian nation. That's about as far as I could get before I quit listening. I can't wait to hear your rebuttal to these idiots. Oh, and before I forget, ASCII time, which is the double facepalm right through the skull. Double nuclear facepalm for this one. And if you don't want to have a double facepalm, go ahead and lick that like button as well as the subscribe button and ding the dinger for good, extra good measure. Make sure you set all the YouTube notifies you and junk. You know what? Just give your entire phone a huge lick. Just make sure it's properly sanitized and full of your saliva. And if you're feeling especially charitable, join the Skeptic Mafia. Load perks gift. And in any event, remember, Casey is always right. Casey is God. Remember to eat your fruits and veggies. Tomatoes are a must for any proper diet. And drink some goddamn water. Heathens. Tomato signing out. So yes, we do have perks here. Like there's the emojis that you get to see in the side chat. You get to pick the video on Fridays. Most of the time, there are times when I'm really busy and I can't put out a poll or I can't find videos. So this week I was able to. But you get to pick the video, you get to comment on the video, and I read the comments on the air. There's also a monthly hangout, which will be this Sunday, everybody. And yeah, I mean, that's I try to provide enough to make it worthwhile, the $1 to $5 a month that you want to give. Some people give more, but that's totally up to you. But in any case, next is Mark Fernkopf. Thank you so much, Tomato. I really appreciate your comment every time. Love the ASCIIs. Mark Fernkopf says, okay, really early in this morning for this, maybe I shouldn't watch the preview clip when I first wake up. Well, I woke up first to finding out that Iowa just banned all abortions after 6 weeks across the board, which is before most women even know they are pregnant. That is very true. Most people don't know before the 6 week. And still up until very much later, like before the 12th week or something like that, like a lot of times you can just do the pills for the oral abortion medication for that. But in any case, let's see what BS, like what the fuck? Okay, let's see what BS apologists have today. Okay, Kansas City. I've lived some years in KC. Caller thinks he's personally against gay marriage, but doesn't think it should be illegal for people who want it. If you don't like gay marriage, then don't get gay married. Makes good enough sense, right? Then this apologist compares marriage to currency. Marriage is not a currency. And this motherfucker actually tries to claim that same-sex marriage lessens regular marriage. Like, I'm not awake enough to tell into oblivion at the idiocy of this bullshit assertion. You know what? You're right. If you lessen the definition of marriage by defining it as between one man and one woman, then yes, you are taking value away from marriage. Marriage is the codifying of love between two people. This guy claimed the Netherlands is not a paradise where everyone is happily married and no one gets divorced. That is a really strange criteria for determining that they're happily, like Netherlands is a happy place, right? Like that's a really strange criteria for that. I missed that. I'm glad you pointed it out here. Divorce can be a good thing too. Straight divorce, gay divorce. Divorce is often the best thing for everyone. I have a personal relationship with that statement. It being a good thing for everybody, both parties involved, that is. Truth matters. Yes, truth matters. So stop trying to shove your lies down everyone else's throats. There's a joke about shoving a cock down your throat instead, but I'm not awake enough to find it. I mean, this apologist certainly loves to suck Jesus' dick, but is he allowed to do so without marrying Jesus? Well, in the Christian theology, you could make the case that they are marrying Jesus in a sense. It's fucked up. Trust me, I know. But there is a particular form of the theology that has you marrying Jesus Christ. Well, if you consider Jesus Christ God, you're marrying God. Like throughout the Old Testament, there's this whole imagery of God being the husband and you being the wife kind of thing. God's a drunken asshole, so just take it for what you will. There's a But he can't. But he can't because that would be gay marriage, which is akin to fake currency for some reason. I don't know. I'm too tired for this. Give me caffeine. As always, I love and worship gorgeous goddess Candy Black. Later, heathens. Thank you so much there, Mark. Really appreciate your comment there. We will be having our mafioso hangout this Sunday at like, let's say 3 p.m. Central. I think last time the hangout went off pretty well with the 3 p.m. Central kind of time frame. If you can make it, that would be awesome. I would really love to see you there. All you mafiosos that may be in the crowd right now, that are in the crowd, would love to see you there. 3 p.m. Central Time on Sunday. We will be doing the hangouts. Did we do it Saturday this time? It's going to have to be Sunday this time. I've got a lot of work to get done on Saturday. I know that's kind of in the middle of like some shows or whatnot, but 3 p.m. is the time that I can do it on Sunday. So we will be doing it on Sunday for those of you that want to make it. Anyways, I guess I will see you heathens later. Don't forget to stand up, use your voice, and all that kind of good shit. Bye, everybody. Bye, heathens. Sorry, I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. It's nearly 10 here.